loud and clear. Let me ask you about. You've wrote a lot of books, so I can't ask you about all of them.
No.
But ask you some. Some have been titled quite controversial titles.
Yeah.
Such as "I Steal Wives."
Yeah.
Let's hear about that.
Well, the simple fact of the matter is that everyone has, forgive me for using this religious term, but everybody has sin. We all have that thing, that even Mother Teresa, when they read her notes, when the Vatican released her personal journals in the late 2000s, she revealed that she had a struggle with doubt for 20 years, whatever it was, and feelings of inadequacy and self-loathing, I think, was a piece of it as well. We all have different forms of sin, and my sin was not booze or drugs or overworking or gambling, or certainly wasn't overworking. But it was adultery, and not. I have had 2 wives in my life, and I've been in a long-term relationship most recently. I cheated on one of my wives, but not the other. Both of my wives cheated on me. And then I had, by the time I get to my 40s and I'm working on that book, early to mid 40s, I think. No, early 40s actually. I realized I began to add up since the very first time it happened when I was about 19, when I slept with a woman who was engaged to a cadet from whatever it was, Naval Academy, I think, or West Point. I think it was Naval Academy. And after I'd gotten out of the Air Force Academy, right? I'm that guy. Anyway, I added them up from that first time at age 19 until, I was 40, whatever. And I realized I had affairs with the wives of over 32 or 34 men and women.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus was definitely absent from that fucking scenario. And so I get to writing the book, and what spurred the writing of the book was there are plenty of books most books are actually on when your husband cheats. But one of the things that I began to realize is that, first of all, there are so many things I can't do. I can't run a computer. I don't know anything about cars. I don't know how to fix drywall in a studio or fix plumbing in my house or whatever. But I have the ability to ask questions, and I know how to listen and ask deeper questions and draw people out. And so over the course of those 30, 35, whatever it was, affairs, they would tell me things that they never told anyone in their life. So I was
can
part
totally
therapist.
see how this works.
Right. And
People just want to be listened to.
they want to be heard, but then you also have an in that allows me to ask unusual questions and so forth. And I began to see patterns. And what I began to see and believe is that female infidelity, and mind you, this was 14 years ago, 12 years ago when I started writing this, female infidelity is both under-researched and under-reported. And so whatever statistics you see on male infidelity, men are cheaters and so forth, I grew to believe very strongly that it is as much or more among females. And what that 2-volume book was about was the patterns that I saw in their thinking, in their actions, in their longings, in their marriages and so forth. And so I Steal Wives, the funny part about that book, even though it really never started to sell, that one really didn't start to sell until I got on TikTok, and a lot of the TikToks, or some of the TikToks I've done, are on infidelity. And I have a unique perspective, not only counseling for 30 years, but the insider. I've been cheated on twice by 2 wives, not to mention other girlfriends, and I've been the co-cheater. So I've seen it from all aspects. So this isn't book shit.
Right.
This is something I turned into a book based on decades of counseling as well as personal experience. And that one really started to take off as well. Not as much as my last book, but that book, back when I wrote it, that's the one that got me on the map as in terms of being a writer. I'd already written several books, but that was the one that I landed, top literary agency in the country, Trident Media Group, and so I've had them as my agent, and that was tremendously validating for me. To not just have an agent, but to have the top, and as a writer and as a thinker.
Right.
And not that I'm Mr. Intellectual. I don't think myself as that type of thinker.
But it's good to have some approval saying, okay, you're on something. We think it's important.
That's it. And we like how you convey it and so forth.
Right. Be a
and
storyteller.
as well as what your what you got to have some good meat in there. So anyway, that's what that book was, and I had a lot of fun making that book. Actually, I had a lot of fun doing the research for that book. Funny, funny.